Hello, everyone. I apologize for that delay. We were having some times and we're trying to get our slides up. And I just think we're going to have to do the presentation today without any slides. So I'll do my best to still be as concise as possible. And I hope you guys it'll still be clear even without those bullet points and our nice clear slides. Can everybody hear me okay? And see me okay? All right, wonderful. So there's a couple different ways to ask a question here in this Crowdcast platform. The first is through that chat bar just over on the right-hand side of your screen. So you can discuss here, ask questions there. I will try and pay attention to that bar while the presentation is going on. But if I get scrolling pretty fast, I might miss something. So I also want to direct you to the other way to ask a question in Crowdcast, which is to actually use the Ask a Question function. And that is going to be down on the left-hand side at the bottom. At the end of the presentation, I will go through all of the questions that come up in the Ask a Question function. So if you really want to make sure I see it and direct my attention to it, go ahead and use that. But otherwise, the chat bar on the right-hand side is great for just discussion and everything else. All right, so again, I apologize for the lack of slides, but I hope things still go pretty well. And I also realized we got started pretty late. So I do think I had a pretty short presentation anyway, so I think we should still be able to finish on time. But I will kind of be brief so I can make sure we can get to all the questions as well before the presentation is over. If we manage not to hit anything, you can also always reach out to us. You can reach us at bbright@iowawindandsolar.com. Anything that you want to discuss that we don't have time for today, just go ahead and use that email. I'll make sure we put that in the chat as well, since we won't have the slide with that on it. But we'll make sure we get that in there, so you always have that as an option. All right, so to kick things off today, we are going to talk about the Asteroid Program that is happening right now in Illinois, and the final procurement round. So a few things that we're going to cover today. First, what the purpose of the Asteroid Program is. Next, how it works and what happens with it. Then we're going to go over the requirements of the program and how to know if you're eligible for the program. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about the application process and bidding for this program. So what is the purpose of the Illinois Asteroid Program? So the state of Illinois has an RPS, which is a Renewable Portfolio Standard target. 25% of the power that they use is provided by renewable energy by the year 2025. So to help meet this target, they set up a Asteroid program where you every renewable energy system that is installed will generate SRECs, or solar renewable energy credits. These SRECs are then available to sell, and so people who put in renewable energy systems like a solar array will be able to sell these SRECs, which helps pay for the cost of putting in a system like a solar array in the first place. So because they allow people everywhere to put in solar energy systems and then give them an incentive, it helps them meet their overall renewable portfolio standard. So the way the program works is that for every megawatt hour of electricity that is generated by your solar array that is installed, you earn one SREC. SREC, again, is a solar renewable energy credit. When you're looking to either put in a solar array, or if you have an existing solar array, then you estimate how many SRECs your system will produce over 5 years. This is a 5-year program. And then you select a bid price. So this is how much you would like to earn for each SREC that your system generates. And then you work with a SREC broker or an SREC aggregator who takes your SRECs along with a bunch of other people's SRECs, and they package them all together in one big bundle for sale. And then this selling process happens during what the Illinois Power Agency calls procurement rounds. There were 2 procurement rounds in Illinois this year. The first already happened, and that was during the spring. And then there's one more procurement round that is happening in October. Right now, SREC brokers and SREC aggregators are working to prepare these bundles to sell for that procurement round that's happening in October. So you're probably seeing a lot of stuff about SRECs right now. This is because there is basically an open application process for this October procurement round. For 2017, like I said, there was 2 procurement rounds. The first one there was $40 million allocated for the entire year. It was supposed to be split 50-50 between the 2 rounds, but the first round actually ended up using about 70%. So there's about $12 million left for this procurement round that's going on right now. So once you either, again, if you have a solar array already installed, or if you're looking to install solar, you will work with an aggregator, or you'll work with your installer. It depends, different companies have different methods. At Iowa Wind and Solar, we will actually handle everything in-house for you. So you don't have to work with anyone else. It's just one simple process. But again, depending on who you're working with, you might need to also work with an SREC broker. They will get some information about your array or your planned array, determine how many SRECs that you think your system will produce, or based on the system designs and specifications. And then you will have to select a bid price. So this is how much you want to earn per SREC over the 5 years. The aggregator then will bundle your SRECs up with other systems that are in that similar price range, and then put it on the market. And in that October round, the IPA will use the money to actually purchase the SREC. So then you'll find out if your bid was accepted. And for this timeline, probably late October or early November, you'll know if your SRECs were accepted. If they were, once your array is installed and starts generating SRECs, you will report your production, and then for every SREC you produce, you'll be paid that amount. I think payments go out quarterly right now, so you might have several SRECs for each quarterly payment that you receive. Like I said, those are generated, or those are purchased over 5 years. So you'll get paid for every SREC you create for 5 years. To be eligible for this program, you need to have an existing solar array or be planning to install a solar array that will be connected to a utility in Illinois. This can be any operating utility in Illinois. Cooperatives are eligible, municipal utilities are eligible, and then the big investor-owned utilities are all eligible. So as long as you have electrical power in Illinois and you're currently connected to a utility and you're planning on connecting your solar array, so off-grid systems would not be eligible for this program. But if your system is grid-tied to a utility in Illinois, you are eligible for this program. The solar array installed must be smaller than 2,000 kW. So just to give you an idea, that's a very, very large array. So most residential systems are between 5 and 20 kW, and then, commercial or agricultural systems you might see in the 50 to 60 kW range and up. But 2,000 kW is a very, very large system. So most most systems will be eligible. And then finally, like I said, you need to apply with a broker. So the broker that we work with here at Iowa Wind and Solar has a deadline of September 8th. So we are, and that's actually most existing ones have that deadline just so they can package everything for the IPA to be ready for that procurement round. So there's that September 8th deadline to apply by. What does the application process look like? So I'm going to speak from what our customers will experience at Iowa Wind and Solar. This could be different for other companies or other brokers. But what will happen when you are looking at solar is whether, again, you have an existing array, if you're planning to install a new one. So we will go ahead and we'll put together a quote. We'll take a look at your electric usage, any planned increase in usage. We'll take a look at your property, your electrical system, and then we'll put together a quote for you. And then if everything looks good to you, once you sign a contract with us, we take care of both the interconnection application with your utility, so everything on that part of the install side, and then the application process as well on the SREC side. Some things that you will need to have ready is you will need to think about a bid price. So how much you want to receive for your SRECs. In previous rounds, usually what we recommend is bidding close to the average of what the bids were for your system size during past rounds. So this was a really good rule of thumb because if you bid close to the average, it usually meant you have a really good chance of your bid being accepted because you're going to be the middle of the pack, basically. This round is a little bit different. Because it is the final round that Illinois is doing the SREC program for, we are expecting to see the bid prices go down. So this year, our recommendation is to basically bid the amount that you need to make the project make financial sense for you. Because that way you are, you're good no matter what, because you're going to be bidding at the amount that you need for it to work. And then you'll be more likely, again, like I said, to be accepted the lower the bid you make. The other kind of hiccup in here is the IPA divided the procurement round into two buckets. So there's the 0 to 25 kW bucket and the 25 to 2,000 kW bucket, and then they divided the funds evenly between those two buckets. So since there's going to be more SRECs generated by that larger bucket, we're going to see the bid price on that bucket quite a bit lower than the smaller bucket. So as an example, the average bid for the last round for the smaller bucket was $185 in SREC, while the larger bucket, the 25 to 2,000 kW bucket, the average bid, I think, was about $70 in SREC. So, like I said, you're going to see the smaller systems are going to have a little bit better payback with those SRECs. But the benefit is definitely still there for the 25 to 2,000 kW as well. We're just seeing some really, really incredible paybacks for a lot of the estimates and quotes we've been putting out for customers now. So what should you bid for your SRECs? Like I said, best recommendation is to bid the amount that makes it make financial sense for you to make the project go through and work. But we're on all of our estimates right now. We are using examples of $50 in SREC on the 25 to 2,000 kW bucket and $110 in estimate on the 0 to 25 kW bucket. And these are still looking really, really good. So again, like I said, do what works best for you, but we're showing our estimates with those figures. So if you're interested, if you want to know more, what do you do next? So I recommend you can reach out to us. We actually set up a special inbox for this. It's expedite@iowawindandsolar.com. If you're interested in putting up solar and getting in your application for this SREC program, you can go ahead and email us there. We'll put you at the top of the queue just because we're trying to prioritize projects in Illinois. And we will get you an estimate and a quote on what solar could look like for you. That will also show these SREC payments and what that payback will look like. And then, like I said, if you're interested, we'll put together a contract and then we'll get right started on your SREC application so you can get become a part of this program. All right, so I'm going to take a look at the questions I've got here. Okay, so do you have to pay upfront for the equipment? So this is going to depend on the installer that you're working with. For Iowa Wind and Solar, what we do is we do a 10% down payment, and then you have, once everything gets approved, so your interconnection application with the utility and your SREC application, once both of those are approved, then we will do a 60% payment prior to installation. This is to cover your equipment costs. And then once everything is turned on and online, we invoice for the final 30%. We also have some really great financing options. So we have several options that have absolutely zero down. And for several different term lengths, so I think we've got a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year. Basically, if you work with us, there's probably a financing option out there that we can find that'll meet your needs that also requires no down payment. Will this be rebroadcast? That's an easy one. We will have this video available, so we are recording this, and we will have this available, I think, on our Facebook and also on our YouTube channel. And I will let you know where else we'll be posting this. So yes, this is definitely available, and you can take a look and rewatch this whenever works for you. We've got another question. How many solar panels would be needed to replace 6,000 kilowatt hours per month? Ooh, that's quite a bit. So let me run some math real quick. So you're looking at about a 50 kW system, and so for the average solar panel that we use, that's about 150 solar panels. So, good question. All right, I'm seeing some questions pop up in the chat here. So emails again, I'll make sure, I think Janae is online right now. Janae, would you mind typing the emails in the chat, both bbright@iowawindandsolar.com. That is where you can reach out to us if you have any questions at all. bbright@iowawindandsolar.com. And then there's also expedite@iowawindandsolar.com. And again, this is if you're interested in having us put together an estimate and a quote for you. You can go ahead and use that email address, and like I said, we'll move you to the top of the queue because September 8th is that big deadline, and we don't want anybody to miss out. So again, bbright@iowawindandsolar.com and expedite@iowawindandsolar.com. And I think Janae is going to go ahead and put those in the chat as well. And you can also visit our Facebook page. We'll do a posting there on that as well. Lucas, yes, sorry, this was entirely about the SREC program. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Okay, and then we also have a question on 1900 kilowatts per month. What size system does that take? So I'm going to assume you're talking about kilowatt hours there. I'm going to do some quick math again. So that would probably be about an 18 kW system for that 900 kilowatt hours per month question. So yep, that's about the size system you're looking at. And that's also, again, a great size because you have the opportunity to bid at that 0 to 25 bucket, which you're probably going to get a considerably higher bid price on those SRECs. So it's a really good size. All right, is there any other questions? Okay, I got a couple more. Do you install all over Illinois? Yes, we do. So we cover the entire state. So should be good there. What size are the panels? So we offer two primary sizes. So the first is a 72 cell, which is about each panel is about 7 feet by 3 feet. And then the second option we offer usually only in space constraint situations is a 60 cell panel, which is about 6 feet by 3 feet. So just takes off a little bit of size there. So if you have a roof that's got either just a smaller roof or a roof with a lot of different peaks and ridges, you might be able to use the 60 cell on that. What is the typical payback period? So it does depend on your system and exactly what kind of setup you already have. But usually we're seeing anything between 2 years and about 7 or 8 years. With commercial systems, the payback's going to be on the lower end because there's also the depreciation that a business can take advantage of because the asset that can be depreciated. And so the payback is also considering that you were able to make use of the federal tax credit and the Asteroid Program as well. So those paybacks that I listed. Any other questions? And again, I apologize for our delayed start and our lack of slides. But I appreciate you guys all still participating and listening. And like I said, any other questions or anything else we can help out with, love to just shoot us an email, hit us up on Facebook. However you want to reach out to us, we are happy to help and answer questions. Another question from Eric, will we know if we are eligible for SREC and federal programs before installation? So with our customers, we do offer basically two options. So once they sign a contract, you can either move ahead right away and we'll get started on your installation and then hope that your bid is approved, or you can choose to wait until after your SREC bid has been approved. And if for any reason you didn't get approved, we allow all of our customers to void their contract. So if you have any concerns that you might not be approved, you can go ahead and wait to start your installation until after you get that official approval, and then move ahead with it now. The one option, or the one thing with doing that, is because we're looking at seeing approvals in probably November, we are not guaranteeing any 2017 installs for anybody who waits, just because we're likely going to run into frozen ground, icy roofs, that sort of thing at that time of year. So you'd most likely be looking at an early spring 2018 installation if you decide to wait until after your SRECs have been approved. So just wanted to make sure that that's clear. But yes, you have either option if you go ahead with us as a company, is if for any reason your SRECs are not approved, like I said, we would allow you to void your contract. How long is the guarantee for the system? So for the solar arrays we install with the equipment we use, we actually have a 25-year warranty on all parts of the solar array. So that includes your modules, your inverter, and your backing. So those are the three main parts of the solar. And so we offer a 25-year warranty by partnering with some really great manufacturers. So it's a really, really great investment there. And even though the warranty is only for 25 years, you are likely to see continued production for quite a bit longer than that. The equipment, does this include everything needed, batteries and converter? So usually you don't actually need a battery with your system unless you're looking for a battery backup, or if you are on a utility that doesn't net meter and you need to be able to basically shift your load so you can take advantage of your solar at night and basically when it's cloudy and rainy. That is only the case, again, like I said, for utilities that don't net meter. The big ones in Illinois all do, your Ameren, Mid-American, ComEd, they all net meter up to 2 megawatt. But if you're on a rural electric cooperative or that utility might have a different policy. So that'd be something that we need to look into if that was the case. So if your system does require a battery or you're looking for battery backup, we can go ahead and price that in. But otherwise, the arrays will include everything you need, your inverter, your racking, your modules, pretty important part, and then anything else needed for your electrical connection and interconnection. All right, any other questions? Still got a little bit of time here. Oh, coming in. Awesome. Okay. So the email again, Janae's on it. Can you recommend any panel manufacturer names? So we partner with Silfab Solar, which is a really, really great manufacturer out of Canada. So that is our primary module. We also offer an LG high efficiency module. So those are our two main manufacturers. What manufacturers will be included in the procurement round? So the procurement round is actually independent of manufacturers. So as long as actually, you know what? I'm not sure if that's totally correct. I will have to get back to you on that, Matt. I am not sure if, yeah, I will get back to you on that question. I know that the manufacturers that we work with and use, there's no issue and those are included, but I think in some cases, there's definitely some testing and standards that manufacturers would have to meet. So I think that there might be some limitations on who is included, but everything that we use is good to go. How do I know if I'm on the grid or not? So on grid basically just means that your solar array is connected to your utility. So there's two main types of systems, the on-grid or the off-grid. If you're off-grid, you are basically no longer connected to an electric provider, and instead you'd be relying on only your solar array. So if you don't get an electric bill, you would be off-grid. Otherwise, your system will be still connected to your utility, and basically when your solar array isn't producing, you can still draw power from the utility, and they'll cover you in case, like I said, there's a long stint of cloudy days, it covers your night production, that type of thing. So night consumption rather. So if you have an existing solar array and you're still getting electric bill, your solar array is most likely connected to the grid, but Hi guys, I'm back. Can you guys hear me again? So sorry about that. This is not a day for webinars. I think that we had some Murphy's Law going on, and pretty much everything bad that could happen did. So I apologize. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep answering questions. I appreciate everybody who stuck around, and for those of you who have to leave, I totally understand. But I'm going to keep going because we've still got some questions that haven't been answered. So I'm going to keep working through those. I did see a couple other comments come through, so I want to get to those as well. So what will you believe will happen with the program after 5 years? Do you anticipate renewal? No. At this time, the Asteroid program is slated to just last for those 5 years. So it's unlikely for you to continue receiving Asteroid payments after the 5 years. Does your Facebook page have all of this information out there? So we'll make sure on Facebook to put a link to our website. I think Janae actually linked as well right there. We have a page up that provides a lot of information on the Asteroid program. If there's anything that you don't see answered there, again, like I said, reach out to us and we are happy to answer those questions. And then I'm going to keep working through these questions. So when you have both a personal home and farm, would the program work with both? Yes. So basically you would be eligible to receive SRECs on both a system installed at your home and a system installed on your farm property. So basically for each system that's connected to a meter would be considered its own array, and then you would go through the process for each of those solar arrays and get SRECs for each system that is installed. If you have a system that ties into the grid, are there any batteries used, battery bank to store energy? So yes, you can. However, we don't usually recommend adding batteries unless you are looking for something like battery backup. If you're on a utility that does net meter, and basically what net metering means is that you will overproduce during the day and during the summer. So you'll use, your solar array will produce more than you're actually consuming during the day. And then that'll flow back to your utility. And then when you're consuming energy at night that you don't have, your solar isn't on, so there's no production flowing in, your utility will supply you with that power, but they won't charge you for it. Instead, they will credit you with all of that overproduction that your solar array did during the day, and then you can basically use it up at night. So with a program like that, it makes it really great, and batteries are not required unless, like I said, you're looking for something like battery backup so you can still have power when your utility is down. If you're on a utility that doesn't net meter, then batteries may be necessary, or like I said, if you want to go completely off grid, then batteries are a must. Is the federal tax credit using a 179 deduction? No. So the federal tax credit is actually the 30% investment tax credit that is given by the federal government. So rather than a deduction, this is actually a credit. So instead of reducing the total amount of tax bill that you would have to pay, you're actually just basically paying part of your tax bill with this credit. So you would get 30% of the system cost equal to that in a tax credit that you can basically just use to essentially pay your tax bill. This tax credit also, the federal rolls over for 20 years. So if you don't have enough tax liability to use it all up in year one, you can continue to use the tax credit for the next 20 years. So theoretically, you could go 20 years without paying taxes. Once the 25% goal is met by the state, do the credits continue? Does the bid price go down? So once you apply, you are essentially locking in that bid price for the 5 years of the program. So the 5 years, so basically the way the program works is you apply for the program, and then you list a price that you'd like to get paid for your SRECs, and then you're paid that amount for 5 years for every SREC you generate. So it is unlikely that once the RPS, that standard is met in 2025, that they'll continue to do incentive programs. However, they might change their standard, so they might increase it so it's more than 25%, and then new programs could come up based on whatever new standard is set. Okay, I think I may have gotten to all of the questions that I have here, but yes, wait, I see some more. You can add batteries at any time. So if you wanted to expand your system or change your system, that's not going to be dependent on the SREC program. So you could add batteries after the fact. As part of the proposal, will you also let us know if a provider does net metering? Yes. So we will work with your utility to find out exactly what your what kind of policies they have and what kind of what their interconnection is like and how they will treat the solar array. So yes, we will definitely do that for you. All right. Again, I want to thank everybody for your patience with us. I'm sorry we've had so many technical difficulties today, but I do hope that this was helpful. And I am going to go ahead and throw out those email addresses again, bebright@iowawindandsolar.com if you think of anything else or if there's any other questions that I haven't covered here today. And then expedite@iowawindandsolar.com if you're interested in getting an estimate and a quote and getting an application for those SRECs in by September 8th. So, all right. Thank you again so much, everybody, for your time. And reach out to us. And I hope everybody has a great day.